Today I'm just playing around here behind the heifer barn. Just brush hogging some of this stuff down. I'm gonna start taking some of this back. My plan was to put corn in this strip here this spring, and I was gonna take some of this ground back. Kind of let this go because it gets wet down in here. This whole thing is low ground. The whole pasture's wet. So usually in the spring and the fall you can't get through here. So, but main reason a lot of this used to only be about half this, but a lot of this is left this way because back when I did them grants and did that manure storage building and stuff, part of that grant was the agreement was I had to set aside an acre of ground for wildlife conservation, whatever you want to call it. Because like everybody else, when somebody gives out free money to a group, everybody wants free money. And by the way, it's not free money. I had to claim it on my taxes and claim it as income and pay taxes on the amount of grant that I got. And so it's not really free money. But, you know, everybody wants their share. So part of the agreement was, and it couldn't be like the pasture here. I couldn't just cut off a piece of the pasture and not put cows in or whatever. It had to be farmable ground. So there's a little more than an acre here. But that's what I figured out. That's why we leave this, and then I brush hog it when I need to. Once a year at least. You know, basically once a year. I'm too lazy to do it several times. When it doesn't need to be done that many times either. But I say, it is a pain in the ass. And I was just, you know, leave this corner. It'd still be a half acre or whatever. I don't know. There's other ground that I don't touch anymore somewhere else. So really, what's the difference? But that's what I'm trying to work on here now. There's too much junk in that area. There are a bunch of just stuff sitting in there, and it's just too. I'm better off taking the skid steer and trying to push it out if I want to clean that up than taking the brush hog into it. And this here's what I got to get hauled up for some people. My cousin wants some of that. That's all manure pile under there. He wants that black rotted stuff. Get this stuff down here in this corner done. But I'm going down to that low corner and get that. And then again, right there's probably a quarter or a third of an acre. You might as well say it's setting aside for wildlife. Used to be ground we used to work. It just gets pretty steep in there to try to go with a loaded wagon and stuff, so that's kind of why we stay out of that. But like I say, there ain't much else going on here. Maybe I'll take a ride out and look at the corn here when I'm done and add that to this video. We'll go from there. I'd probably video some of this brush hogging, but I have no way to hold the camera and pay attention to what I'm doing. Just like when I got stuck the other night and had a neighbor come up. He ended up coming up with his 1066. And like I say, once we got the front end right up out of there, drove right out, it wasn't a problem. But I would have videotaped some of that maybe, but the way I was leaning, I was holding on to the door for dear life to keep him sliding out of the seat, so. And I gotta pay attention to what he's doing, so some things just can't be distracted by. So I'm gonna work on this corner, then I'll be back with something else. Yeah, I came out here, seems like I'm done brush hogging for now. How's that? Oh, I know what that is, I think. I bet that's part of one of the window gaskets or door gaskets on the Ford. Something I can think of. Something. The weather stripping for something. But anyway, got done brush hogging, so I thought I'd come out here to show this corn. I came out here 2 weeks ago. Today's the 18th. I actually came out here July 3rd. I made a video to show July 4th, so be like everybody else. Knee high by the 4th of July. But I didn't post it because, again, everybody was doing it. And this was nothing spectacular. I mean, and I don't know what it is this year. It seems like everything, and it's not just me, I know it's other guys' crops, just don't seem to be growing. I don't know, there's, because of the weather, whatever. It's not the vigor in the seed or what, I don't know. But this was planted, you can guys go back if you want to figure it out. It was the end of May, 26th, 28th, somewhere in there. And this is the 104-day hybrid that I planted. Ouch. And I came out here 2 weeks ago, and you could say it was knee high. It was below my knee somewhat, but you can make the argument it made knee high. So, well, it's really a sense of posting that. So, but people have asked, and look, thought I'd do it. This right here. Again, I don't remember the number of the hybrid. I'd have to go look. But I know this one's 104 day. This corn on this side of this tree, this is the corn that wasn't treated with that regen. And like I say, 2 weeks ago, it was up to about my knee. 2 weeks later, what, about mid-chest? Some of this here, getting up to the armpit. Some of that over there, I'm pretty sure would, just say it's kind of uneven. I think the biggest thing that hurt it this year is we had that heavy rain, and then it turned dry. This ground is somewhat hard. I still say I should have cultivated and would have helped it more than anything. Get up here on the side hill where it's a little bit more drier ground. Hope I'm getting a good angle of it, but it is up to about my shoulder. So there is quite a bit of variance. I know the biggest thing I need is lime. Probably the biggest thing that's hurting everything here. It's multiple factors. Like I say, there's deficiencies. If you can see, there's different streaks, yellowish streaks in there. Kind of shows up over there. I mean, the way my money situation, cost of things, or what corn's worth. I did doing this more on the cheap. I ain't putting a whole hell of a lot into it. So there's gonna be some variables for what I got into it. If it gets any even an average, anything average, I'll be making out good on it for what I put into this. But yeah, this here, which would be that corn I was standing up there, all this here is what was treated with the regen. So again, you can see it's this corn, spots is mid-thigh, some of it's up to my shoulder. You can see most of this up this side on the higher ground. So that's where I'm thinking, because that 4 inches, this held wet down in here longer. I mean, there is most times we were picking this one way because you can't pull up through there most years in the fall. So, I mean, this lays wet. Wetter than what it probably should be. So, like I say, you get up on some of this better ground. I think some of that right over there where I'm pointing. But some of that might be almost up to head high. So, it's coming along, but corn seems to be that way to me, the way I see it. Seems to take forever. It took forever to get to knee high. Yeah, probably if I pushed more fertilizer to it, yeah, probably would push it more, but it is what it is. But still, it seemed to take forever to get to knee high. And like I said, I walked this area last fall, 2 weeks ago. Now 2 weeks later, a lot of it's up to chest high to shoulder high. So in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, might see some of this tosseling. I actually seen the first corn around here this week tousled. But then my guys have got it in the end of April, beginning of May too, so they got a few more weeks on it. And we'll go up here. And like I said, it's mostly this lower end of this field. That's why I don't plant clear down here or leave a sod strip. Because if I planted this, and we get a wet fall, you drive through this 3 or 4 times, it just turns up to a mud pit. If I keep it like this, I got a solid strip, get a better chance of getting out of it. Up here, a little more uneven, got some good areas. It is what it is. Yep. Yeah, I got one less plant, just killed it. And this here, now I expect this to look like this. This is more, because it's the open pollinated, there is more variables, more variance in seed. It's not as quality controlled. Now, like I said, most of spring I thought this looked better than that. Now that's looking better than this. This is 112 day, planted the same day. And you see, I still got corn getting up there to armpit height. Some of this over here is going to be, let's see, here's one up the head high. One of the few in here. So, I mean, like I say, a lot of it's deficiencies. Like I say, I'm not pushing as hard as everybody else. I ain't putting 3 applications of fertilizer on it and spraying 3 times and then fungicide and this, that, and the other thing, and have to get $800 an acre return to make a profit. So, the thing I am disappointed with, 2 weeks ago when I was out of this, it wasn't like this. So, it ain't much I'm going to be able to do about it. I ain't happy about this crap here, but grass don't bother me too much. I know this field needs lime bad. That's the biggest thing on this field. Oh, couldn't figure out how to have such a wide row, but this is where I screwed up how I planted it. And one thing when I planted it, and I ended up doing this one separate and this one separate. I should have done this one, the one I got to my mark here, planted this way down, but I planted this way up. And then, so like I said, that's what I got. And I guess it's alright. It gives me a spot where I know where it's different, and worst comes to worst, the only thing I'm going to do is run down 1 row of corn when I split this, instead of having to straddle 2 rows and running down 2 rows. But a lot of times I can pick up most of it, so I ain't too worried about it. But yeah, that's what the corn is here, down to my cousin's there. I'm going down there tomorrow, but maybe I'll get some video of that. I was down there the other day, and it ain't really much different. I mean, it's a week behind this, and that down there. Well, one field is the open pollinated, and the other one is the other corn, I believe was 98 day. So, I mean, so far, I mean, I ain't too disappointed. I mean, I am about this, but again, well, if you look at further south of us, there's some areas the corn is completely burnt up and gone. They're not going to get nothing. And they probably put way more into it than I put into it. And I still got a chance of getting something. So, it ain't a matter how much you put into it, it's how much you get out of it. Yeah, if you can put more into it and get more out of it than you put into it, yeah, you're doing good. But you can put all you want into it and still lose it and end up with nothing. So, it's just a gamble. Just how much of a gamble you want to put into it. And this year I'm not putting that much into it. So I guess that's pretty much the way the corn looks this year. And I'm going to go down home and check one more thing and call it, well, take a rest till I get to go to the bar to feed heifers tonight. Well, I thought I'd share one final thing here. I don't like sharing too much personal stuff. I mean, I've gave my share. People have been around here for over the year or so ago. I mean, I've detailed the situation I'm in, steps I've taken and stuff. And like I say, I don't try not to put anything personal out there. I like to share the idiocy that's in this world too. And I don't think anybody watching this can't say they don't really know where I stand on our government and stuff. It is idiotic, redundant, stupid, greedy. You know, I'm not gonna get into much on that where I stand. And people should know, or get a good idea. But the stupid things, the amount what our government will do, because they waste so much to get what they get. I just got a letter today from Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, and they sent me a check for $26.33. Now, what was involved in me getting this check, and the thing is, they don't have nothing on here. There's no note or anything saying why I got this. I know what it is, why that amount is. I just don't know why I got it. And this is the part I probably shouldn't be sharing, but I didn't file taxes for 2 years. So this year I filed 3 years worth of taxes. Now I didn't file taxes because I knew either I had next to nothing that I owed them nothing, or I was getting a refund. So yeah, I probably should have filed the taxes to get the refunds. But I put it off. And again, it got to the point, I got to get this done. And there was something else other paperwork I had to do, but they wanted the most current tax information. So basically I had to get them done to satisfy that. So I did 3 years of not only federal, but state taxes. Okay, and again, out of them 6 tax returns, there's only 2 that I owed money on. And the federal, I think I got a refund from 2 federal. I owed 1 federal. The 1 state I owed nothing. I forget what the other state was. And this other one I know what, well anyway, regardless, this 1 state I owed, okay? Did the taxes. Sent the check in. Okay, we had these all done back, I had them done by the end of March. Middle of April, I get a letter from Pennsylvania Revenue saying I owed another $26.33. Which I expected. I mean, I figured they either going to charge me interest. Okay, yeah, there was another one that I owed on. Yeah, I owed on 2 states. And I got one back from the state. I owed them another $5 and something. No big deal, sent the check. I get this one a couple weeks later that I owed them $26.33. And that was back in, yeah, I sent that check the end of April. Okay. In July 1st, so right here at the beginning of the month, I get another letter from PA Revenue. They returned my check. And I had a sneaking suspicion, I had a gut feeling after I mailed it, I couldn't remember if I signed the check. Well, I didn't sign the check. I guess I'm just out of practice of writing checks, because most of the checks I wrote was for the farm. You know, all the accounts you got monthly due here, milking cows. Since I haven't been milking cows, I don't have monthly checks to write out for that. Most other stuff personally, either pay online or through credit card or debit card or whatever. So I'm just out of practice signing checks. So, okay, no problem. I signed the check, put it back in the envelope that they sent it back to them. Okay, same day. I was going to town that day, and I got the mail, seen it, signed it, boom, done. Now I get this check, a refund for $26.33. And I have no idea why. Now, how much was put into. They had to pay somebody to open up the original tax return, scan it into the computer, whatever do, have the computer system analyze it, kick it out that I owed this much more, send a letter out, somebody have to go through all that, send that back in, and somebody 2 months later now find out that the check wasn't signed, send it back to me. I know my check was deposited because I did see that on my checking account here last week, so I know they cashed the check, and now they're kicking that check back. So now they're going to have the accounting going through to when they balance everything because they refunded it. All they went through for $26.33 just to give it back. Now that is complete waste. I mean, I get, they need to stay on top of things so people will pay what they're supposed to, their fair share. But it's one thing when it's $26, it's the next thing when it's a couple $1,000s. I mean, it's spending dollars to get nickels. That's what it is. And I just don't understand it. So, but I'm current on everything there now, so nobody has to worry about that. But it just boggles my mind. Like I was talking to corn, guys will throw hundreds of dollars into an acre, hoping to make another. Throw $100 into it and hoping they get 105 back out of it. Well, it was worth it. That extra step we did. Yeah, but really, did you? It's one thing always bothered me. Well, I used to participate in a group around here. One reason I don't is because I can't guarantee I have the money to obligate myself to stuff. And that's the thing. You say you're going to buy with the group, you're obligating yourself, and they've kicked people out for doing this before. There's been times, it's called the Erie County Buyers Group, and I know at one time, and one of the things they do is diesel fuel. That's one of the examples I know of. And diesel fuel is, well, they'll do twine and other stuff, and they try to do prepay and early order to get discounts, and so you got to have the money up front. Well, diesel fuel is one they bid out. And usually it's the rack price. Last I knew, like they take the rack price that the distributor gets on Tuesday morning, and that's the price for the week. And then they have whatever their profit margin, their delivery fee, whatever. And that's whoever offering the lowest delivery fee is basically what gets the bid. And there's been times where they've done this, and I know of at least one, possibly two guys, they'll say they'll bid in 2,000 gallons of diesel fuel. And then after they secure the bid, they turn around and they never buy none of it. They'll go back to their old supplier, and either their old supplier will match the bid price, or I think one guy just didn't like dealing with the company that got the bid that year, and he didn't want to do it. So they weren't allowed to bid in the group anymore. But I know the one guy there kind of leads everything. Kind of what always irked me was, and I get it, you're bidding for the lowest price. But you don't have to take the lowest price. I mean, can always be some other factors. And one, we're talking 2 or 3 cents on something, like 2 or 3 cents a gallon. It would be better to pay 2 cents a gallon, in my opinion, to a dealer that's considered local than somebody's coming from 2 counties away. I get it that you're putting the group's position on the line there, where you want the best price, but and it's not saying anything against this company. They had good service too. I mean, when I did the diesel fuel, I bought from whoever. I'd rather buy from the local guy, but I bought from whoever got the bid because I was participating in that. But like I say, I mean, it's been 7-8 years since I've dealt with them because, like I say, things started going downhill, and just like I say, you just can't. If you can't hold your word, you shouldn't be doing something. So I should at least go to the meetings. I mean, it's always the first Wednesday of the month. They have the meeting, discuss They have a certain agenda, certain bids they do certain times of the year. Have a dinner. You know, we meet at a local restaurant and had a meal there. But like I said, that always irked me. Sometimes the few cents just really ain't worth it for the overall part. But then again, same thing with that. It always irked me. The local dealer the one I consider local, the one I deal with, they would never submit a bid to the group. I mean, you're guaranteeing the money. And that was the other thing. We'll go with the diesel fuel again. Say I go to a local dealer and I order diesel fuel today. Well, say it's the first of the month, second month. I order diesel fuel on the second of the month. They bill me at the end of the month. I got until the end of the next month to pay that bill. The buyer's group is 30 days from delivery date. So if they deliver on the second, it's due the second of the next month. So there you're guaranteeing that company their money 30 days sooner. You're guaranteeing, you're guaranteeing them a certain amount of gallons because that's what they're doing. We're submitting the total number of gallons the group's going to buy. You can go over it. If you're a few gallons under it, they don't say anything. They don't want you ordering 3,000 gallons and only taking 1,000. If you take 3,000 and take 4,000, that's not a big deal. And I don't know if they would say anything if it does even out overall on the bid, but they want you to be somewhat close. But same way with when they did the spray chemicals. 2 places around here were selling spray chemicals and they never submitted a bid. They were mostly getting those chemicals from somebody down around Lancaster most of the time. The local feed mill wouldn't even put bids in for seed corn or plastics or twines or anything. They had put an order in with the buyer's group to get their supply from them. I always thought that was screwy too. But like I said, I'm just going rambling on about nothing, I guess. So yeah, that was my main thing. All this running around that the government just did for this $26, and then they end up refunding it to me anyhow. Refunding it back. I don't understand it. So I guess I'm going to wrap that up. This is going to be a whole lot of nothing maybe. Probably boring for most people, but it is what it is today. If I do a fresh video, I still got a few backlogged ones that can be anything. So I'd put up a current one for a change. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you later.